Fanboys are gonna be mad, but the haters might be too.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Today we are ranking the albums of Falling in Reverse through their latest release, Popular Monster, but we're starting back at the beginning with The Drug in Me Is You in 2011.
Don't fail me now. I've lost my goddamn mind.
The 2010s is where the metalcore genre largely split off in two directions. Gent with Periphery largely leading the charge with the release of Icarus Lives, and more important to our discussion here, what I refer to as haircore. Metalcore with the same preoccupation with fashion and young women that hair metal had back in the 80s. This is certainly the latter with its pop-infused radio-friendly sound, quite often sounding like Panic at the Disco with screaming. Expect plenty of corny, cringy lyrics, but I won't argue that songs like The Drug in Me Is You, Sink or Swim, and I'm Not a Vampire aren't extremely catchy. I've never been a huge fan of these guys, but I'm not going to cope and act like there is no talent on display. Some very solid guitar work here too, courtesy of Jackie Vincent, when those little Avenged Sevenfold sounding harmonized leads and solos pop up. But this almost makes it more of a shame when I pay attention to the words in songs like Good Girls, Bad Guys. Again, infectious. I understand the draw, but I simultaneously find my eyes rolling back into my skull, and vomit shooting out of me like an inner city fire hydrant during a heat wave. All things considered though, this was fairly par for the course for that era, and I'd still rather listen to this than like Fall Out Boy. And as far as the band's discography goes, it's one of the better ones from start to finish. So yeah, I'm putting this one at cringe but fun. They followed that up with Fashionably Late in 2013.
Calling it quits right now. This time you're playing games and all.
Kicking off basically where that last album left off, but on a pretty heavy note with those very As I Lay Dying sounding riffs of Champion, still mixing in the pop elements though in a way that reminds me of A Day to Remember. Unfortunately, things take a bad turn with the first rap section, and it unfortunately will not be the last. I don't even think that Ronnie is a terrible rapper, and I'm not opposed to mixing rap and metal as evidenced by my unapologetic enjoyment of Limp Bizkit, but this approach always brings the songs to a standstill for me. They just don't flow together. Bad Girls Club is another lyrical groaner, but I kind of enjoy the sort of Get Up Kids meets Zebrahead upbeat melodies, synthesizers, and backing vocals. Rolling Stone starts off decent enough, but then gets derailed by another shoehorned rap section and even some dubstep. Once more, I am reminded of that dessert from Bluey.
And here's your special dinner.
Pretty lame sense of humor on the title track, and don't get me started on Alone.
My haters talking shit while washing dishes for a living. Fuck you bitches, I'm a business. I be kissing on your missus. Endless trash.
This also feels like the start of my least favorite trend in Ronnie's lyrics, flexing on the haters. Once or twice maybe is fine, but this starts to become almost every single when we get further down the list here. It's Over When It's Over is also pretty bad. If I give credit to one rap section, it's the growled one on Self-Destruct Personality. Back to the good, I do enjoy the Hatebreed meets Pennywise energy of Born to Lead, killer bass on that one too. Some songs I genuinely enjoyed enough to playlist, but also some duds and downers, so this one landed at mixed bag.
Yo, 2013, motherfucker, Falling in Reverse.
By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit the like button and comment your own favorite and least favorite albums below. Or if you hate it, dislike it. I'm all for that too. Engagement is engagement. Tell me how stupid my mask is and how dumb my opinions are. I have heard it all before. You are not original. And I'm not even gonna make a diss track about it. Then we got Just Like You in 2015. This one kicks off with even more of a pop-punk energy, and I have to admit that the first few songs really got me jamming like I did back in the 2000s with so much of this sound on the radio. Hate all you want, but there's no rule saying you can't love Imperial Triumphant and some good old-fashioned pop-punk. Chemical Prisoner and God If You Are Above, despite the lack of heaviness, are both just very fun, catchy, well-written tracks, and that energy carries into many of the other songs like Stay Awake and Get Me Out. Sexy Drug and the title track are a little on the nose and corny lyrically, but still pretty infectious.
I am aware that I am an asshole. I really don't care.
Unfortunately, they couldn't leave well enough alone, once more infusing some cringy rap moments, as with Wait and See, which is easily the worst track on every level, if you ask me. But there are also some more pretty solid A Day to Remember-esque heavier moments like Guillotine, The Bitter End, and Die For You. Honestly, despite the occasional misstep, this one's pretty good.
I am shocked and chagrined.
I mean, if you're only into super heavy stuff, you're still going to hate it, but if you dig things like 4 Years Strong, you might dig this. So this one landed at really fun. Then we got Coming Home in 2017. Starting on a much more dramatic and atmospheric note with the title track, really passionate song that sets the tone for what I'd consider to be a much more sad boy sounding album. Loser and Fuck You and All Your Friends are excellent, feeling a little brand new energy right down to the cover art too, maybe a little My Chemical Romance in there too. I Hate Everyone, I can relate. I'm Bad at Life even gave me some mild Say Anything vibes, love the whoa oh oh backing vocals on Hanging On. It feels a little bit more mature both sonically and lyrically, and those themes definitely come through on Superhero.
I don't wanna be a superhero, 'cause I can't save the world.
There are also some duds. Broken is just whatever, moving into octane core territory with the generic riffs and electronic backing tracks. Similar notes for Straight to Hell and I Don't Mind feels like a particularly lame closer. And more generally, I very much feel the absence of Ryan on guitar as he left after the previous album. So in some ways it's a step up, but in others it's a step back, which makes it kind of hard to rank, but overall I still think it's kind of like more mature than the debut. It's not as fun, but I like kind of the more, I don't know, just the direction and the atmosphere of this one. So it went to matured but uneven, just above, but they're kind of close, despite being completely different albums. But that brings us to Popular Monster in 2024.
So it begins.
Now, unfortunately, all of that maturity kind of goes out the window here in favor of insecurity and bruised ego coming to center stage. Like, I get how tiresome it must be to deal with hate on a daily basis, but the return of the extremely boilerplate rap just makes it all feel so lame and whiny to me. We're going full octane core on this title track, and it's sadly another fair setup for what to expect from the weird duality of this album in that it is somehow both their heaviest and most pop-influenced album to date. Ronald in particular is probably the most punishing track they've written, even including a guest spot from Alex Terrible of Slaughter to Prevail. And I'll admit that it's a solid banger, but even this one is marred by a Tech 9 appearance. I actually like Tech 9 well enough, but his part feels just like a little bit forcing a square peg into a round hole. We also, of course, have Zombified, another octane core groaner with more than a little Imagine Dragons energy. Like, I'll admit that it's fairly catchy, but one, it's the annoying kind of catchy that feels like brainworms, and two, the lyrics are just so eye-roll inducing. It's especially funny to me that every word here 100% applies to Ronnie's own fan base who ride for anything and everything he does as if it's yet another team sports political party to cling to, or even an idol to worship. Not to mention the hypocrisy of talking about having to shut your mouth and bite your tongue to not piss anyone off, considering critical videos about his music, like Brad Taste in Music, have been known to disappear. Real freedom of speech warrior here. More corny rap on Voices in My Head, totally generic, overproduced stuff, and with another big blown out pop chorus that feels like it's trying to trick me into liking it with those I parts. I listen to that and just picture clapping seals or that, wow, Pride Rock guy. I'll at least give it to Ronnie for being a little bit more introspective with this song, but it still just has a lot of the same language about drama and feeling the need to choose a side.
Voices in my head keep telling me to choose a side. It's heaven or hell, like it's do or die.
And again, it's not that these topics are off limits or aren't relatable. Like, I'm not interested in putting Ronnie on trial for any accused past misdeeds or cancel him to the point that he can't make music. I just think that it feels very hackneyed to basically rinse and repeat the same ideas over and over and over again, and then try to distract us with the glossy production and high-budget music videos. My main point is feeling like Ronnie and the band are capable of better, and going through the previous albums for this video makes it even more clear to me that they are just too good to settle for this pandering, paint-by-number songwriting. Like, we get it, dude. Some people just don't like you. Join the club.
I got people that don't like me in the industry. chemistry. I can feel your energy. You were not a friend of me.
And the hypocrisy and contradictions continue because for all the talk and lyrics about not rocking the boat and trying to avoid drama, everything about these videos seems very much designed either consciously or unconsciously to stoke controversy. Case in point with All My Life, which aside from being another pretty bland song in my opinion, includes appearances from semi-controversial figures like Jelly Roll and more importantly, Blair White. And speaking of potentially pissing people off, I really don't care. I don't even dislike Blair White like some people do. I think there is room for a lot of different voices out there, which is something Ronnie even said is part of the theme of this song. But you can't have it both ways. You can't actively make controversial decisions while also whining that some people get riled up when you do it. I actually on some level respect Ronnie's willingness to try to shake things up, but again, it's the corny, very broad style of execution and shocked Pikachu face reaction way he goes about it that irks me. It just feels like wasted talent. For how shocking and original this all begs me to believe it is, there is not a single idea on this album either conceptually or musically that has not been done before, and in many cases, more effectively. It also reminds me of those new conservative cartoons and comedies that claim to be taking us back to pre-woke entertainment, but end up being just as pandering, politically focused, and cringe as the latest assembly line crap from Disney.
Ah! What's that?
Progress. It's the new norm.
The new norm.
Seriously, kill me. I would love for someone to swoop in and bring us back to Mel Brooks, but this ain't it, Chief. And frankly, this culture war shit has been going on long enough now that I think your average person, politics aside, are just tired of it. We don't need another reminder of something that even my young children fully understand. This album adds nothing new to the discourse, and more importantly, the music is just okay. It's not terrible, it's just meh. More shovelcore for satellite radio. That Last Resort reimagined cover acts as a great summary on that level. Take something we know, suck all of the personality out of it, and inject it with a false sense of gravitas.
Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine.
That sounds really boring.
So at the risk of just talking in circles, I'll leave it at this. All I care about is whether the music is good. And the ideas, political or not, and regardless of perspective, are expressed in an interesting or creative way. And in spite of all of the fanfare, this album fails for me on both counts. So I ended up putting it at the bottom at Misguided. Y'all check out this playlist for more metalcore rankings or this video for your personal YouTube recommendation. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.